The Icebox Radio Theater and its sponsors now present Defense Attorney.
Ladies and gentlemen, to depend upon your judgment and to fill my known obligation, I now submit the facts, fully aware of my responsibility to my client and to you as defense attorney.
And now we proudly present Aela Mackintosh, Defense Attorney. When Martha Ellis Bryant chose law as a career, she accepted the challenges of defending the defenseless. Joshua Masters was one of the defenseless. Suspected of murder, he couldn't defend himself.
Your father told me his will left his estate to his 3 sons, but there won't be 3 sons to share it.
Well, that's all right. We'll divide it between the 2 of us.
I don't think so.
Why?
Because I talked to your father yesterday. He was afraid he'd be accused of killing David, and I told him that if he was charged with murder, I would defend him. And I'm going to.
Yes, Joshua Masters was one of the defenseless, and we'll bring you his story right after this important message.
Download complete. The Icebox Radio Theater is now your home for
mystery. Tales of mystery, tales of suspense. All original, all the time.
What's that?
What's what?
Something's over there.
Visit iceboxradio.org for CDs, downloadable MP3s, information on coming attractions, and more.
Do I frighten you, little girl?
On the World Wide Web at www.iceboxradio.org.
And now the curtain rises on Act 1 of tonight's defense attorney's story. Wealthy Joshua Masters is in the law office of Martha Ellis Bryant.
Conducting an investigation is decidedly out of my line, Mr. Masters. I'm an attorney, not a private detective.
I understand that, Miss Bryant, but this is something I believe you could handle better than a private detective.
I'm very flattered, but I'm afraid I don't quite understand.
Well, your reputation for integrity is common knowledge, so I know I can trust you. You're famous for proving people innocent. Now, one of my 3 sons is trying to kill me.
And you want me to find out which one is guilty?
Well, in a manner speaking, yes. But what's more important is I want to know which 2 are innocent. You see, there's a lot of money involved.
I see. How old are you, Mr. Masters?
68.
And your sons?
The oldest, 38, and the youngest is 33.
Are they married?
No, all 3 like to consider themselves eligible bachelors.
Yes, I believe I've read about them in the newspapers.
I'm not proud of my sons, Miss Bryant. They're parasites, waiting for my money, waiting for me to die. And one's trying to hurry it.
And you are a widower, aren't you, Mr. Masters?
Yes, my wife died in 1939.
Will your sons inherit your money?
As my will is now, the estate is to be divided equally between the 3 boys.
Specifically, what is it that makes you think one of the boys is trying to murder you?
I've got a weakness for speed. I like to go fast. A car, a boat, anything. I've got a foreign car. It's very fast. Are you interested in foreign cars, Miss Bryant?
Oh, well, not right now, Mr. Masters.
Yes, well, like I say, I like to get out on the freeway and open my car up once in a while. Started out the other day and I got a flat tire, so I drove into a service station to get it fixed. 1 lug bolt was holding the wheel on. The other 4 had been unscrewed, each one holding by 1 thread.
Well, of course, that is dangerous, but it could have been accidental.
Well, maybe, but I've got a speedboat down at the bay. I started to take it out one day when I noticed the bilge was full of gasoline, and 1 spark plug wire was disconnected and hanging about a 1/4 inch above the bilge. Now, if I'd even touched the starter, it would have blown up all over the harbor.
Well, of course it would. And you believe that these potential accidents were planned?
Yes, I do. There are other things, little things, but they all add up when you know my sons.
And you think that one of your sons is responsible for these occurrences?
Well, there isn't anyone else.
No, that isn't what I mean. What I mean is, has it ever entered your mind that maybe more than one of your sons is involved?
Oh, I see. No, I never thought of that. I hope it isn't true.
Oh, maybe it isn't true, but could any of them, Mr. Masters?
Well, it's true, Miss Bryant. David, Ralph, or Gordon, any of them are capable of killing me for my money.
Tell me, do you support them?
Yes, but I don't give them as much money as they think I should. I believe that wealth carries a responsibility, Miss Bryant, a responsibility to use it wisely. They just want to use it.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Masters, there may be cause for your suspicions, all right. But I'm not going to hazard an opinion, nor am I going to attempt an investigation.
Oh, I see.
However, there is a private detective I can heartily recommend to you. His name is Ted Ruby, and he's in the Hartley building. I've used him on several occasions myself, and I know he's very reliable and that he's well qualified for this sort of thing. And I advise you to go see him. You can tell him that Martha Ellis Bryant sent you.
When did all this happen, Martha?
Just yesterday, Judd. So I sent him to Ted Ruby.
Ruby will know how to handle him. At least he'll make some money on the deal. I'm glad you didn't take it.
Well, it wasn't in my line, darling. But I was sorry I couldn't help him. He's kind of sweet.
He's kind of a screwball.
Why? Do you know him?
No, but I know quite a bit about him and his family. The boys are always mixed up in some scandal. Always expensive to get out of, and the old man pays the fare.
Well, then the boys are worthless.
You bet they are. But the story got out about how whenever one of the boys got in trouble, somebody made an anonymous contribution to some charity or another. A big contribution. I chased down the story for the Dispatch. It was Old Man Masters. Whatever the current scandal payout cost, he'd give an equal amount to charity. Some screwy idea of $1 for $1. Good for evil.
We could all use more screwy ideas like that, Judd.
Yeah? He gets tickets for speeding and goes through the same routine. He's just a screwball.
Yeah, but you haven't talked to him.
No.
I have. I like him. I'm sorry I couldn't... Oh, excuse me. Martha Ellis Bryant's office. Oh, yes, he is. Just a minute, please. For you, Judd.
Hmm?
The Dispatch.
Oh, okay. Hello? Yeah, Steve. All right. Yeah, 1802 Sandalwood Drive. Yeah, I got it. Well, whose place is it? It is. Yeah, all right. I'll get right over there.
Get right over there. There goes our luncheon date, I'll betcha.
Yeah, Martha, there's been a killing at 1802 Sandalwood Drive. I gotta get over there. You want to go along?
No, not particularly. I have a lot of work to do here.
Well, maybe you ought to go, counselor. You know who lives at 1802 Sandalwood Drive?
No, should I?
Yeah, you should. That's the home of Joshua Masters.
This is a real beautiful home, huh, Judd?
Yeah, it is. I wonder if Josh Masters donated to charity an amount equal to the cost of maintaining this place.
Well, why should he?
Well, I just think it's a sin to live in a house this big.
Such a sickness.
All right, get over there. Get that lot back to the headquarters. Well, hello there, Judd.
Hi, Ed.
Well, Miss Bryant. This is a surprise. Was Masters a client of yours?
Well, he was sort of a near client.
What?
I'm just here with Judd, Ed.
Oh, I see.
What's the story, Ed?
Oh, one of those messy family affairs. Inside job.
You got any leads?
Oh, you know, Judd. Arrest within 24 hours.
One of the boys, huh?
Yep.
Which one? You know yet?
Sure, we know. It was David.
Can I print that?
Well, sure. Why not?
Well, then you're going to arrest him right away.
Arrest who?
David.
Arrest him? How can we arrest him? He's dead.
Dead? I thought that... Well, wait a minute, Ed. You mean Josh Masters wasn't killed?
The old man? No, it's David.
Then Josh Masters isn't dead?
Well, no. Should he be?
Well, according to percentage, yes.
What?
Oh, nothing. Just you take it, Judd. It's your story.
Well, what happened, Ed?
Well, but all I'm sure of right now is that when Gordon Masters come into the library this morning, he found his brother David laying on the floor dead. He was shot sometime last night with a .44 caliber gun.
You found the weapon?
Nah. Medical examiner says it was a .44, and the old man's gun, .44, is missing from the desk drawer. He says he can't account for it.
Well, what do you think about it?
Like I said, we expect an arrest within 24 hours.
You know who it'll be?
Oh, come on. You know I can't answer that, Judd.
All right, unofficially, Ed, not for publication.
Well, I think that Josh Masters knows where that gun is.
But does he have a motive?
Had a quarrel with David Masters yesterday. That could be a motive. The only fly in that ointment is that he was always quarreling with one or the other of the boys.
Yeah, so I've heard. Where's Josh Masters now?
Oh, in the library. At least he was a minute or so before you came in.
I wonder if he'd care to make a statement to the press.
I don't know. You can ask him. He's a free citizen so far.
Thanks, Ed. I think I will.
Yeah, look around if you want it, Judd. I got work to do. See you later. Bye, Martha.
See you, Ed.
Bye, Lieutenant.
Well, what do you think of this development, Martha?
Darling, Joshua Masters is not the type of person who kills anybody. He's just not the kind to...
Oh, well, Miss Bryant, I'm surprised to see you here. I was just going to come down to your office.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Masters. I came with Mr. Barnes, a friend of mine. Judd, this is Joshua Masters.
Oh, yeah, how do you do? Yeah.
I'm so very sorry about your son, Mr. Masters.
Thank you. I'm sorry I can't feel more grief than I do, but my sons have been a great disappointment to me, Miss Bryant.
Would you have any idea who may be responsible for this thing?
No, I haven't. I wish I knew. That Detective Letus suspects me.
Did he say that to you?
No, he didn't need to. I know. Miss Bryant, if he should charge me with this, I'd like to have you as my attorney.
Oh, well, it's a little early for that, Mr. Masters. However, if you are charged with the murder, and I believe you are innocent, I'll defend you. Lieutenant Letus's 24 hours are just about up. I wonder if he's made his arrest yet.
If he has, Josh Masters is here in the jail, and you've got a client.
Hello, Lieutenant.
Well, good morning, Martha. Judd.
Hello, Ed. Anything new in the Masters case?
Yep, we found the gun.
Hey, when?
Oh, about 10 minutes ago.
Well, who had it?
Josh Masters had it.
Are you sure, Lieutenant?
Yeah, it was laying beside him.
It was what?
Yeah. Josh Masters committed suicide with it at 8 o'clock this morning.
In just a moment, we'll continue with Act 2 of tonight's defense attorney story. It can be in the sound of the orchestra preparing, or in the sound of a sculptor working in stone, or even in the sound of laughter from inside a theater. It is the sound of art being created, and for over 3 decades, the sound of art being created has rung loud and clear in northeastern Minnesota. The Arrowhead Regional Arts Council has been encouraging local arts development in northeastern Minnesota through grants and services for over 35 years. Every year, they give out more than $500,000 to local artists and arts organizations, and that helps create $40 million in revenue and jobs created. To find out more about our arts programs or how you can get involved, visit aracouncil.org. The Arrowhead Regional Arts Council, where the arts flourish, you thrive. Now we continue with Act 2 of tonight's defense attorney.
Mr. Masters didn't think they were accidents, Lieutenant. He thought one of the boys was trying to murder him. He wanted me to help him find out which one it was.
Well, the things sound more like accidents than plans as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, me too, Martha. Whole people are always figuring that someone is trying to get them out of the way.
Josh Masters was not suffering from a persecution complex, if that's what you mean.
That's what I mean.
Oh, not only that, but I couldn't get one direct answer from him yesterday.
You didn't catch him in a lie.
No, but I didn't catch him in a truth either.
Lieutenant, please remember, he didn't know where his gun was. He might have thought one of the boys had it. Maybe he was unwilling to incriminate any of them.
He said he didn't know where the gun was.
Look, Martha, I like it this way. Joshua Masters thought that one of his sons was trying to get him out of the way. For some reason, he figured it was David, and he jumps him about it. They argue, and Josh shoots him, and he takes remorse over having killed his son. He takes the gun and kills himself. Now, is that logic?
Makes sense to me.
If you didn't know Joshua Masters.
Oh, come on. You didn't know him until 2 days ago.
That's right. I talked to him for 15 minutes, and I got to know him real well, Lieutenant.
Oh, Martha, how could you?
All right. Now, will you grant that I'm at least a fair judge of character?
Well, you always have been. So far.
Joshua Masters might have committed suicide, but he never would have committed murder.
Oh, look, Martha, it was his gun. We couldn't find it yesterday. This morning, it's laying beside him. His fingerprints on the grip, the presence of powder burns on his head, and the angle of the bullet's path all point to a suicide with the same gun that killed David.
It's strong evidence, Martha.
I know all that, darling, but it's too perfect.
And now your story about those so-called attempts on his life give a motive for murder and suicide by Joshua Masters.
Wait a minute, Lieutenant. Did you find out anything about his will, his insurance policies, things like that? What about who inherits the money?
Well, no, not yet. But that's standard procedure, Martha. I'm going to question the 2 boys about it now.
That isn't going to make any difference in the story, is it? I want to call the dispatch.
I don't think we'll find out anything new. Chances are the boys will inherit everything. Well, they should.
There's no doubt about what will happen to the money now. Those 2 will know how to spend it. They always have.
Are you going to question Ralph and Gordon separately, Lieutenant?
No, I'll call them in here together. You want to hear?
Yes, I'd like to. May I?
Oh, sure.
Ed, what about the noise of the gunshots? Didn't anybody hear it?
Nope. Both shots were in the library, and Josh Masters had it soundproofed. He liked music, and he liked it loud. Collected records, you know. Nobody else could stand it, so Josh had his library soundproofed and played his records in there.
That's a motive for killing him right there.
Not if the place was soundproofed. Oh, Sergeant, send Gordon and Ralph Masters in here, would you please?
Believe me, Lieutenant, the last thing Joshua Masters had on his mind when he was in my office was committing suicide.
You wanted me, Lieutenant?
Yep, I have a few questions I want to ask as soon as your brother gets here. Sit down.
Look, let's get one thing straight. Just because my father killed David and then shot himself is no reason for you to start tossing orders around. You're in my house, and when I'm ready, I'll ask you to sit down.
Little touchy, huh?
Why shouldn't I be? I just lost my brother and my father.
Take it easy, Ralph. Sensitivity isn't a characteristic of the police department, you know. What do you want to know, Lieutenant?
This isn't a suicide until the coroner says so. And he won't say so until I finish my investigation. And I won't finish my investigation until you answer a few more questions.
That's all we've done for the past few days.
We can wind this up today. Right now, I want to know who stands to inherit the most from the estate.
Why do you ask that?
Because I want to know.
Now look, don't get out of line, Lieutenant. I
can answer that, Lieutenant. The money was to be divided equally among the family.
The 3 of us.
How do you know that?
Dad told me a long time ago.
The will hasn't been changed?
Not that I know of.
Did your father ever feel he was being picked on? Abused?
He certainly did.
When did you notice?
Every time we asked for a dime.
That's right. He was pretty tight with his dough.
From what I hear, you 2 were pretty loose with it.
And what have you got to do with this?
I'm Martha Ellis Bryant. I'm an attorney. Your father was a client of mine. Did you know he thought about changing his will?
Well, any change he could have made wouldn't hold up after killing David and committing suicide. He was losing his mind, incapable of handling his affairs.
We can break any kind of will now, if we need to.
Well, come on, Judd. They'll be dividing his clothes next.
Yeah, I could use some fresh air. See you later, Ed.
Yeah, so long, Judd. Miss Bryant?
Goodbye, Lieutenant.
Any court of law will overrule a will made by a man who killed.
Gordon Masters is really plugging that murder and suicide, isn't he?
Yeah, but I think he's right, Martha.
I don't know. He sounds to me like a man with something to sell.
Or a man who's convinced of something.
Well, maybe. Can you take me back to my office, sweetie? I wish to ponder.
About this case?
Yes.
Look, Martha, the police say it's suicide. Why don't you let it go at that? They've got powder burns, bullet angle. You just gave them a motive.
Yeah, I know.
And you've got fingerprints on the gun to back up the suicide theory. Anyway, what are you doing in this case? You're a lawyer, not a detective.
You're right, I am a lawyer, and yesterday I told Joshua Masters that if he was charged with murder and I thought he was innocent, I'd defend him. And that was a promise.
Well, sure, but he's dead.
Yes, but he's still charged with murder. The murder of his son. And he can hardly defend himself.
How far can you go with noblesse oblige?
My darling Judson, there are people whose goodness is apparent, even in a short conversation. And I think Joshua Masters is one of those people. And I don't think he killed his son. And I don't think he committed suicide.
That's what I gather.
Anyway, the fact that he's dead doesn't cancel my promise to defend him. I just wish I knew how to begin. And neither one of those fine, upstanding boys was concerned beyond the question of who inherited the money. Their father laying in the next room dead, and they're planning on how to break his will.
Yes, Martha, but that still doesn't make either one of them a murderer.
Either one of them could have killed David to get a bigger share of the estate, then killed Joshua to get the money sooner.
It's a good theory, Martha, but the police have a better one with evidence to back it up. Joshua Masters' fingerprint on the grip of that gun.
Somebody could have put his hand around that gun after he was dead.
All you've got to do is prove that, and the rest of your theory will hold up.
There must be some way to prove it.
I've never heard of a way, short of a confession. It's a little late for that. Martha, don't start wringing your hands over this case. It's not that important.
I'm not wringing my hands, darling. I'm just trying to think of a way to... Hey, Judd, there is a way. Pull over to the curb.
Martha, for freak's sake, let go of the wheel.
I'm sorry, darling, but listen. If I were going to put your fingerprints on this steering wheel... Now, give me your hand. Here, okay? I put your fingers on the wheel and I'd press, right? Just like that.
Yeah.
Now, look what happens right here.
Hey. Well, you think it would show?
I don't know, but I'd never be able to sleep if I don't find out. Let's go back, fast.
Let's do. Burn 'em up Barnes, they call me.
Well, this is sure going to start something new in the checking of suicides. Oh, Martha, I wouldn't have thought of it, but there they are, and they match.
Pretty obvious that Joshua Masters did not commit suicide, isn't it, Lieutenant?
No doubt about it. You know, we came pretty close to making a bad mistake. If you and Judd had been 2 minutes later getting here, it would have been too late.
Why? Was it that close?
Oh, the coroner and I were agreed on murder and suicide. We were ready to turn the body over to an undertaker. Well, I'll get the sergeant and get the Masters in here.
Just a minute, Lieutenant. Suppose they were both in this thing together.
Yeah, that's something to think about, Ed. It could be.
Yeah, I guess it could. You got any suggestions, Martha?
Uh-huh. Why don't we get them both in? Then we can watch their reactions. Maybe find out more than we know.
That's the way to do it, Ed. And the star reporter of the Dispatch will be in on the arrest.
Oh, I think you're right, Martha. I'll have the sergeant bring them in. Sergeant! Sergeant, have Gordon and Ralph Masters come in here. Look, Martha, you want to handle this? It's your play. I could be watching for trouble.
Yeah, there could be trouble, too.
Sure, he's killed twice.
It's all right. I'll talk to him.
Say, how much more of this pointless questioning do we have to put up with?
Maybe they decided it was suicide. Have you, Lieutenant?
Oh, not yet. Miss Bryant here has something to say.
What's an attorney got to do with this? Is this something to do with the old man's will?
Yes, in a way. That is, it will certainly affect the terms of the will.
What do you mean?
Well, your father's will left everything to his 3 sons, but there won't be 3 sons to share it.
Well, that's all right. We can divide it between Ralph and me.
No, I don't think so.
What?
I talked to your father 2 days ago, and he told me he suspected one of his sons of trying to kill him.
He did?
Yes, he did.
Oh, that was probably why he killed David. He found out David was the one.
Is that what you think, Ralph?
What else is there to think?
Oh, there are other things. I talked to your father again yesterday. He told me he was afraid he'd be accused of killing David, and I told him that if he was charged with the murder, I would defend him.
What's this got to do with us?
He has been charged with the murder. He has been charged with killing David and committing suicide, and I'm defending him. Because he didn't kill David, and he didn't commit suicide. Your father was murdered.
Who says he was murdered?
I say he was murdered.
You can't prove he was. His fingerprints are on that gun.
Yes, they are. And you, Ralph Masters, put them there.
You can't prove that either.
Oh, yes, I can. When you pressed your father's hand around that gun to leave his fingerprints on it, you left your own.
My fingerprints aren't on that gun.
That's right, Ralph. They're not on the gun, but they're on your father's hands.
What?
On his fingernails.
You're lying.
No, Ralph, she isn't lying. We checked them.
True, Lieutenant.
Yeah, real true.
Ralph, you killed David. And Dad.
Yeah, I did. And you would have too if you'd had enough nerve. Now don't you move. Anybody.
Careful, Martha. He's got a gun.
Right.
I said don't anybody move. I'm leaving. I'm getting out of here. I'll kill anyone that tries to stop me. And maybe I'll kill you anyway, Martha Bryant. If it hadn't been for you.
What about the sergeant behind you, Masters?
What?
Good shooting, Ed.
Thanks for turning him, Judd.
Lieutenant, is he dead?
Yeah, he's dead.
First David, and then Dad. Now Ralph. I'm the only one left.
All alone in the world with $1 million.
All right, let's get him out of here.
When Judd Barnes chose a lawyer as a girlfriend, he accepted the challenge of defending the defenseless girlfriend.
It was looking kind of grim there for a minute. You probably saved my life, Judd. Thanks.
Martha, you shouldn't put yourself into a situation where you're exposed to danger like that. Likely to get killed.
Yes, Judd.
Your business is defending, not apprehending.
Yeah, I suppose it isn't very nice to put your friends in a position where they have to rescue you all the time.
Well, it wasn't that. I was glad to do it. And I know Letus was too.
No, I was kind of foolish. I shouldn't have done it.
No, it wasn't foolish.
Yes, it was. I didn't owe Joshua Masters anything.
Yes, you did. A promise made is a debt unpaid.
I know, but after all...
If you didn't do things like that, you wouldn't be my Martha.
Now, which side are you on, darling?
I've been trapped again, so help me.
Judson, don't you know you can't win an argument with a woman? And when the woman is a defense attorney? Hoo-ha!
This has been Defense Attorney, an old-time radio recreation by the Icebox Radio Theater, directed by Diane Adams. Starring Aela Mackintosh as Martha Ellis Bryant, James Yount as Judd, Tom Bement as Lieutenant Letus, Justin Kapla as Ralph. Caleb Silvers was Gordon, and your announcer was Jeffrey Adams. For more information on the Icebox Radio Theater and their old-time radio recreations, visit iceboxradio.org.